Welcome back, guys, to Remax, episode 19, part 2. We're going to talk about Legacy of the Void in the Destiny blog, Legacy of the Void business model. We have a lot of opinions, especially Winter, about Legacy of the Void, and we'll get to it in just a second. Alright, let me pull it up. So Destiny made a big blog about his thoughts on what should be changed in Legacy of the Void. He has a lot of sources about the numbers, the concurrent viewers, the concurrent amount of players, daily, monthly, and so on. And it all makes sense. I mean, he's right. There's no denying that StarCraft... actually, StarCraft had a lot more players than CSGO before CSGO had the skin upgrade. And then you saw CSGO come to rise and become really big in just 2 years. So just I guess we can start with Winter. What were your thoughts on this blog?
I mean, I don't think anyone can look at this and disagree heavily with any of the points.
Mm-hmm.
There were some that just because of the format of StarCraft 2. Now the thing is, I think the important part is he points out how Valve did it with two completely different genres of game. Like, they had Dota, and they had... Well, Dota makes some sense because, well, League of Legends is huge, so you should be able to make Dota huge, right? But CSGO is something that he points out that people start... Well, at the first, it seemed kind of like StarCraft, where it got pretty big, but then it kind of leveled off. But then the addition of, I guess, Valve's interference or promotion or whatever you want to call it, actually had a noticeable effect. It's not the community, it's not the people working at it, it's that the actual promoter of the game, the person who stands to make the most off of it, actually took that stance, I guess you could say. And another big point was, I think a highlight was Blizzard doesn't have to guess at which monetization scheme for Legacy of the Void would be effective. There are plenty of its successful examples that have had time to grow in the market already. And I think that's the most important point, is that they don't have to guess anymore. They can literally just copy anyone else and have similar results, I feel. And that's the point I most wanted to bring up, I guess.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Nathanias? His thoughts on the blog?
You can make anything happen. The world's a magical place. But really, it's it's something that we've all wanted for a very, very, very long time. My favorite part of all of it was in the responses to the Reddit thread responding to it. Someone posted like that really old video where like he basically got shit on for saying the game was gonna die or something like that, or like that numbers would decline, and numbers declined pretty hard. And most people pretty much completely agree with everything Destiny had to say in the old days. So I don't think there's anything in this that you can say is wrong. However, a lot of it is tricky for implementing into StarCraft. Some of the ecosystems of a game like Counter-Strike I don't think are implementable, but there are things that could definitely be taken from Dota, like the announcers, etc.
Yeah. What about you, Pengwin, as a team owner?
I've always been of the mind that the ability to purchase things in game, whether it be skins, whether it be voice packs, would be really, really, really beneficial. Like, it makes the playing experience a lot more fun, and it also just like generates a ton of income for the company if they sell well. And I can't imagine any of this really costing particular. Yeah, like, I can't imagine any of these ideas, even the least popular ones, being like, oh, well, we invested X amount of money and we didn't earn it back. It's like, how much do you really need to pay somebody to record a voice pack? It's like 2 hours, 3 hours of recording max. Yeah.
Pengwin,
and then like a couple people put it together.
You seem like a good person to ask this. So as a team managerial person, imagine, so Blizzard says, hey, people will pay $7 or $5 or whatever to have a My Insanity decal, like the one that goes on the ground next to your command center, and like they take, so like what would be like $250 for them, $250 for you, and you pay tax on whatever. Like, is that worth it? Like, is there a negative on something like that where you both get money?
Just don't put numbers on it.
Like, if I'm just saying if it was something small, like, is there a negative to that? Like,
I don't see any negatives, like, from our side. Like, I guess like the worst thing that could possibly happen is like somebody's using like something that's MYI related, like some MYI flare, and like they are like being really BM to people. But even so, it's not like we're acknowledging them as part of our organization or anything. You know, it's not like anyone's gonna legitimately think, oh, this person who bought this MYI flare is BMing people. Let's blame MYI and call their sponsors, right? Like, I don't really see any big downside to it. I don't think any team would really say no, this is not an acceptable use of our time. Like,
and even I know Blizzard has always had an issue kind of with bringing in outside people like teams, or how Kespa was pretty much, didn't Kespa actually change the game for themselves in Brood War? Like, it wasn't Blizzard changes going through, it was like Kespa patches.
Observing didn't exist until observing is not actually even a feature of StarCraft Brood War. That's all the maps that Kespa used were Kespa made maps that had a neutral player that had vision of the other two guys. That's observing. So like Blizzard didn't have a hand at all in anything related to that.
Yeah.
I feel that's the thing. It doesn't even have to be them changing anything. It has to be them being more trusting of people to have the best intentions of Blizzard making more money. Like, any of these changes, you outsource it to someone who's going to do it for probably pretty cheap, especially in StarCraft nowadays. And you'll probably make a profit off of it. But Blizzard seems very reluctant to take any of those risks. And I know it's not the esports team or whatever. Like, I know the esports team absolutely would want, like, any of these things. They want as much as they can, but there's a big disconnect, I guess, between like game design and esports, and also the people who actually have the money, I think, is the biggest issue.
Alright guys, I'm gonna drag in Destiny so we can talk. It's gonna fuck up the overlays. I don't know I don't know if I'll have the courage to fix it.
Here we go, boys.
Alright.
Get your jimmies ready.
Yeah, hold on. Right. Here. Oh, god damn it, I hate my life. Alright. Yeah, there's a point I want to bring up. I talked with someone at Blizzard a long time ago, like a year ago almost. And
what did I do?
Hey, what's up? So we're talking about your blog.
It all up.
Yeah, we were talking about your blog, and we were talking about how it might not be profitable, and that's actually what I was told. Like back in like July or June, that they don't think it would be profitable to make skins. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I mean, they've got better access to the numbers than I do. Do
you want to start your cam?
Me? Do I have to?
Hi, Steven.
You don't... Yeah, okay.
Listen, I just got out of the shower a little bit ago, okay?
Okay. We won't judge.
Okay. In terms of, I mean, Blizzard has way better access to the numbers than I actually do, right? So I mean, it's hard for me to like say like, oh no, it's definitely profitable, especially if they're saying it's not. I mean, they can skin units. They've already done it, right? Mm-hmm. There's like the Zergling skin and the Ultralisk skin, which makes me think that they have the ability to swap out like those graphical assets relatively easily. Right? That's my non-programmer assumption. Maybe somebody like an actual Blizzard developer might have like more commentary on that, like, well, oh no, like
that's a root problem then. That's not like we don't have any information, so we can't actually know. I feel like there should be better communication.
There may be root problems. I don't know. Like I said, I don't.
That's the thing.
Even if I had access to the code, I couldn't tell. But I'm just saying that like they've done skins in the past, so it seems like they have the capability to do it. So I don't understand how it just from my non-developer mind. Is it really that hard to implement like a second Ultralisk skin and then put it behind a paywall and see how well it sells? Like I would be interested to see like one of those things, like put in like a new Zealot skin or whatever, put it behind a paywall and then see how well it sells. And then release the numbers. And then if it turns out like if they do it and they sell like 2,000 of them and like that's it to all the players, and they're like, well, like we had one engineer and we had one artist work on this, and after X hours spent in an art room and X hours spent implementing and then doing quality assurance and everything, it cost us this much money to do this shit, and only 2,000 people bought it, so it was like a negative revenue project, so this is why we don't do skins. Then I would be like, oh well, fuck me, I'm completely and totally wrong. Just ignore everything that I said. You're absolutely right. Then it's not worth investing in skins.
You know what they could do? Like they could just to test the market, they could sell the Ultralisk and the Tor, because no one's gonna buy a fucking collector's edition for their Smurf.
That's just collected for a reason. I don't want anybody else with my Thor.
Yeah, but that would be the easiest to test. But
That's
then
the
they would.
problem, though. It's the root problem of they don't communicate well, so no one knows. So no one can actually make educated criticisms or decisions because no one actually knows all the information besides them. So until someone does, until someone like that's an intermediary, I guess, between Blizzard and people like us, then no one's going to be able to make decisions except Blizzard. So
Well,
Yeah, I find it hard to. This is again, this is something where I would love to sit down and like actually talk to like a non-PR Blizzard person, somebody that actually knows what they're talking about, right? Somebody on either the dev team or somebody that manages, financial things or whatever. Not just somebody. I love the Scion guy, but he kind of seems like he just gets fed statements from corporate to this is our official stance on this, even though you don't really know anything. So here you go. But like somebody that's like actually in charge of projects, it would be interesting to hear like what are your metrics for determining the financial viability of implementing skins and selling them to the players? Like what metrics are you using or what data are you analyzing to make the statement that we wouldn't be able to make money on these features? I'd be curious to hear what those numbers are because Blizzard's never tried anything like that with StarCraft 2,
but
have they tried it with other games?
Yeah, of course. They've got. I mean, they do. They monetize WoW with expansion packs. They have the Hearthstone packs that they sell now.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure with Heroes of the Storm they're going to be selling skins as well. So.
Yeah. Well,
Heroes
actually,
of the Storm was selling skins from the first day they opened the fucking alpha.
In the
man.
alpha, I can't get over they're actually selling an alpha.
I mean,
And then beta's coming out. Like, come on.
WoW is the triple dipping. You can buy cosmetics. You pay for the expansion and then you pay monthly.
I mean, you can get like mounts and everything.
You can boost your character, like power level for money. Like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. So I don't understand.
No, but
I don't
if you
understand
look-
saying that it's not profitable.
But if you look at Valve, like it's not like they're super open about anything they do. Like they don't even have a community guy. Like people were pissed off
Valve?
at CS. Yeah, like the Dire
Valve is
Tide.
pretty.
I mean,
Okay, the Dire Tide shit was something that happened that was dumb. But in terms of like, if you look at the CS:GO community, like Valve spends a ton of time. There are every time like the community is complaining about shit for a while. Like the patches you typically tend to address like issues that the community's been talking about within like a week or two. Like Valve is pretty responsive to the CS:GO community. I don't know as much about the Dota 2 community because I don't follow them as much. But I mean, I know that there've been some big changes that have gone into Dota 2 as well. But
okay, so we're talking voice pack, we're talking skins. Anything else? Would you like a different theme, a different UI,
Well,
like Dota has?
the voice pack thing that can't be hard, right?
No,
It's
Another
personal thing
developer
too.
could chime in, but like that can't be more than like literally just swapping sound files. Like I don't understand how that
It
can
was
be.
it was doable. It was doable before they changed the way the Blizzard launcher worked. You could actually change any of those files yourself. There were custom voice packs. You used to be able to switch all the unit sounds to the Brood War units. That used to be possible back when you could do the original stronger team colors as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and hopefully no, but I'm pretty sure if it's not at the at BlizzCon, I've heard that they want to do different themes. But so okay, skins, voice packs, themes like UI themes. What else? What else?
Change
do we
colors
need?
of spells and stuff like that.
Allow
Like,
you to choose your color on ladder.
Yes, that's a big thing.
That would be cool.
Yeah. One thing you haven't spoken in your blog is I think one of the big reason why CSGO is successful is the betting. So do you want to market or you just want skins, Destiny?
The betting? What do you mean?
Like
betting
the
on
betting
professional
skins.
games?
Yeah.
Like
Or do
in
you mean just,
CS:GO?
like, the
Yeah,
skin
like
market?
like I think like casinos are gonna die and then just people are gonna bet online on
I
everything.
think that you're mixing things up. Like just the market of like buying and selling skins, I think is an awesome idea that Blizzard could do. But like if you're talking about like betting on professional games,
Yes.
that's something different. I don't think that's
It's not
necessary.
real money.
No, but it's super huge for CS:GO. You have like
Yeah, I mean,
But
Someone
is any
like-
of that from Valve?
well, yeah, because there's a market and there's skins and it's third party. But
wait. What are you Are you talking about? Are you talking about buying and selling skins? Or are you talking about betting on professional games? You keep mixing those two things up.
I'm talking about the second one, the betting, because that's something
Okay.
you didn't cover in your blog.
Yeah. So wait, what does that have to do with skins
Guy-
and shit?
Blizzard wouldn't set that up.
So I think it's really important to note, though, that a big reason behind why companies like Riot can do whatever the fuck they want and why Valve can do whatever the fuck they want is they pretty much own themselves and aren't tied to other entities that have, you know, blah 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 blah, blah investments, blah 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 blah. Like Blizzard is part of Activision, and this last time I checked, both of
Are
them
they
owned by
still?
Vivendi, or there's someone else that still owns both of them. But like they have a lot of other things in place that make doing just kind of doing stuff pretty difficult. So I imagine that when it comes to bringing in outside content, like if you were to open up some sort of marketplace or ecosystem like that, then it gets very tricky. Blizzard should be pushing their own stuff a lot more, but
Like
bringing in
Hearthstone.
things outside of that, yeah, like Hearthstone or Heroes of the Storm style, Blizzard can generate the content, but I kind of understand that there's probably much more legal shit for them to go through to actually start
legal
taking
for what?
content
Well, that's the
for the
final
company
question.
for dealing with the possible repercussions of
Is
having
it-
people that aren't employees putting shit in your game.
Is it better?
Wait, like
Are
what?
we're talking what would grow? We know what would grow Legacy of the Void, right? Like we know these things would be great for the community, but does Blizzard think it is in their best interest to do these things for Legacy of the Void, or is it something they'll just ignore because they can? That's the question, really. Like
Yo,
they,
a lot
they
of people
always say they want it, but
Yeah, well, the people that say they want it do actually want it. There are people that at Blizzard will
There are a
go
lot
and
of
present
people.
ideas. There are people that go and present ideas, and then it's like, well, is this reasonably possible to get through all the channels at the company? And the answer, when it's no, means it doesn't happen. You know, for example, LAN was not something that was off the cards until, you know, that big merger happened right around the time when, you know, they announced it was also going to be in 3 expansion
Hold
packs.
on, that's not true. LAN has always been off the table. LAN was never an option for StarCraft 2. Are you saying it was at one point?
Well, I'm just saying that I hadn't heard about that until they started until it was like 2010 when the whole fucking giant company merger happened.
Okay.
Anyway, my point is shit like this is stuff that people at the company do actually want. There's just certain limitations to whether or not they can actually do any of it.
I don't
so
know.
then what can we do as whatever we are to encourage it? I guess that's all you can really do.
Well, I think the blog of Destiny was a step in the right direction. So if you,
Wow. We all just
Rustling
write
all
blogs.
the jimmies.
What?
Well-
we need people to be talking about it. Otherwise, Blizzard is not gonna do it. Like that was my biggest disappointment at BlizzCon is they didn't talk about the skins at all, and they weren't like interested. And even David Kim brushed off one of the questions, saying like they definitely want to do more than portraits. That's as far as he went. It's like and also when he said like
In-game
we're
channel.
definitely gonna be supporting Legacy of the Void after we launch the product. Like, you could tell he was dead inside when he said it. Like, he didn't believe it.
Well, the problem is that, and this is why I mean, I'll never get it, obviously, but I would love the chance to, like, interview some of these guys, because, like, nobody asks, like, you're supposed to push, like, that's the difference between a good interview and a bad interview. If you ask a question, like, do you guys intend to, like, what are you guys going to do to support Legacy of the Void afterwards? And the answer is, like, oh, we definitely intend to support Legacy of the Void, like, we're going to follow with our dev team, we're going to listen to community feedback, blah, 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 like that, like, that's not a real answer, like, that's nothing. You didn't answer anything there, like, what do you, like, tell me, like, give me specifics, you know, like, those are bad questions, and it kills me every time I see any of the PR responses, anybody asking questions, like, none of the answers are of any substance or any value. Like, you might as well just said nothing at all. Like, oh, we're going to continue to listen to community feedback and then blah, blah, blah. Like, well, I mean, that's not an answer. Like,
We're gonna listen, but we're not gonna respond. Like,
Yeah.
it's about every single post.
Yeah, I don't know. To go back to what
that's like your girlfriend gets, like, mad at you or whatever because you're, like, fucking, because you ignore all the time. She's like, well, what are you going to do to change this? You're like, oh, I'm going to work on it. And then you, like, go back to doing what you're doing. Like they wouldn't let you get away with that answer. Or your mom or dad, if you're for, like, cleaning your room or, like, doing chores. Like, what are we going to do to make it so you earn your allowance or whatever? It's like, oh, well, I mean, I'll work harder. It's like, no, give me specifics, you fucking piece of shit. Like, that's not a good answer, you know? But for some reason, like, the Blizzard PR people can get away with that. Like, what are we going to do? Like, oh, like, not to be, like,
They did the same thing with Hearthstone, by the way. There was a Ask Me Anything, like yesterday.
yeah, I heard. Like, reading this,
Yeah.
this is Sion's response, like, in that thread. I think many people severely underestimate how much content we read. We always appreciate when people put in the time and effort to write our detailed thoughts or opinions. While this is a new blog, we've seen many of these thoughts brought up before, and we have discussed them with development. We know these requests are important to the community, and we've always looking to make sure that such hot topics are given the appropriate amount of attention internally. With development ongoing for Legacy of the Void, there is still a lot of discussion taking place. As such, we may not be able to
I'm getting
jump
all
into
rustled up
topics
during this.
with definitive answers on feature requests, but we still want to let you know that this request is heard and we will discuss it. Like, what that means nothing. Like, this whole post is literally nothing. Like,
Yeah, but he can't say more. Like, he has
That's the
to-
problem.
But he has
I know, but that's the problem. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't want to like for issues like this. Like this is different. Like this is so much different than just like development of like a game that's released and then you forget about it, like Far Cry or some single play like Shadows of Mordor, like you release it and then you're done with it. Like this game has an active pro scene, a community that's actively playing the game for years after launch. Like there's a community that kind of revolves around what happens with this game. So this idea that you can just like make something and then leave it and then just kind of forget about it and just not really talk about it, like it doesn't fit at all in today's day and age. And the excuse that, well, it's Blizzard, or like they don't owe themselves to you, they owe themselves to their shareholders. Like that kind of stuff worked 4 years ago when Blizzard could do that and no one else gave a fuck because nobody knew any better. But nowadays, when you've got fucking 50 rioters that post on the League of Legends subreddit every single day, when you've got Valve that's patching games like crazy and constantly supporting the games and even reviving CSGO from the fucking dead, when you've got all these other companies that are actively and aggressively supporting their games, this archaic model of too soon or we'll look at it soon, trademark Blizzard, like that doesn't really work. It's not really compatible with the esports scene today, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, it's fair to say, but I still want to go back to the point of a market system where you can sell and buy whatever piece of skin you end up getting, and then with that, after that, having betting with that market system, with those skins, because it's one of the biggest things. You like someone like Indralisk.
That's an after thing though.
Yeah,
Betting happens because a community gets huge. It doesn't make a community huge. Betting never saved a game in the history of anything in any sport or in any esport ever. No, name one. Can you name one?
CS:GO, man. Like
CSGO was not saved by betting, dog. CSGO was saved because Valve implemented the skin drop system and because they patched the fuck out of their game to fix a lot of the problems with the way they
tune in because they can earn money and they're invested more into the game.
People tune in because a fuck ton of people play the game. You think a lot of people watching DreamHack winner with all the Fnatic drama and all that shit because they could bet on it? No.
That's
betting
what I
helps,
did.
but a very small minority of the community bets. There aren't 100,000 people betting on CSGO games. I'm willing to bet that the number is probably in the 4-figure, maybe 5-figure range of people that actually bet on CSGO. Do you have actual numbers for how many people bet?
I'm trying to look it up. But
probably in the 5 digits
it's
for
really
like, finals
huge.
matches or something. But...
Someone like Indralis made $9,000 off of skins in like 6 months of just watching CSGO. And just
okay,
betting.
that has nothing to do. I mean, Savior made a fuck ton of money for match rigging and Brood War. that doesn't have anything to do with anything though. Betting doesn't increase the popularity of a game. You can put in betting in a shitty game that nobody watches, and it's going to be shit, and no one will still give a fuck or watch it because not many people play it. Betting is something that comes after you've already grown a huge community. It's not something that creates a huge community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just an argument that's something that would improve it. I think we can all agree it's not something that should be on the A list of things to change. Maybe it's something after you get skins.
Should worry about. Yeah, like this is something that a different and there's already betting on StarCraft 2. Like betting on StarCraft 2 already happens quite a bit. And I talked to Rowdy, other people. A lot of people bet on StarCraft 2 matches.
Yeah, but like underage kids, they can bet now if there's a market system. Like they can ask mommy for a credit card to have skins, and they're like, sure. And then eventually that kid starts betting, and then it's fucking addicting. And then he fucking like makes death threats to like pro players on CS:GO.
Great reason why we shouldn't have betting in games. Okay.
Good job.
What? No, I know. I
You
think
already
it's good.
killed it.
What?
You literally just gave a great example as to why you should not have betting in games. Thank you, though.
The infrastructure needs to be there first. The first focus has to be on the infrastructure. And if the infrastructure's not there, betting is just a side note. It's something I'm sure a lot of people will do, but if there's not the infrastructure to actually like get skins in the first place, it doesn't matter if we're betting on them. Or to get voice packs or whatever.
The whole idea behind skins and all of that and shit is it's supposed to be something that
skins is just a buzzword for all the stuff surrounding that. Like
it's just supposed to be something to give people reason to ladder. Like right now, like I don't really ladder because I think the game is fun. I ladder because I'm very competitive and I like getting better at it and because I'm going for a very high spot in GM. If I was somebody whose max skill in this game capped out at like silver or gold, why the fuck would I ever ladder in this game?
Yeah, why
would I play ladder games? Like, who the fuck? Why would I? Because I'm going to move up from rank 92 to rank 48 gold league? Like,
get all my dances that I'll
I don't get anything for laddering. I don't get any new skins for my guns or my units. I don't get any new sound, anything. I don't get it. There's no point to laddering in this game if you don't think that you can be one of the best. Or if you're not going for, like, some huge landmark. Like, I'm going to get Masters League, something like that. Like, if you're, like, below Masters League, what the fuck incentive do you have to ladder in this game?
Yeah,
That's the
Yeah,
whole
it's
point
like-
behind like the skins and everything. It's not just something to make it look pretty, blah blah blah. It's about incentivizing people to play. When you play League of Legends, you get IP for every battle, every time you win or lose. So what do you do with IP? Oh, cool! I can buy runes, I can buy champions or heroes. I don't know what the fuck I'm calling League. Wow, that's cool. And fucking Dota, you got the fucking hats and all that bullshit. And CS:GO, you get skins and gun drops and shit, which is
And
fucking
even better,
awesome. And
like-
then you
Yeah,
open the
man,
cases.
even though I'm silver elite, I can still get shit for winning
Yeah.
games.
Exactly.
have it
Even
in
though
World
I'm
of
a silver
Warcraft.
elite. Yeah, even though I'm
Like-
a silver elite in CS:GO, like I can get an op red line dropping out of a case. Like that's awesome. I've got motivation to play every single fucking round. You know, like
Yeah, man.
There are Blizzard games that already have this implemented. It's all over
Yeah,
WoW. Like people are buying
Hearthstone
battle
has
pets.
been-
Like what the
Hearthstone does it well. Heroes of the Storm does it well. You get experience. Heroes of the Storm even takes it further. They have a lot of good ideas. The like the 1 game per day point bonus you get or whatever. That would be something good for StarCraft.
I
But
think
instead
there's like
we
an
got
XP bonus in StarCraft. Oh my god.
And yeah,
you
in
get like an
StarCraft
extra
we get, like,
10k
levels,
for nothing.
like- what the fuck is the point of
Get
getting
your
level
dances.
like 90?
Yeah, I got 77k EXP, but I'm max level, so.
Yeah, like what the fuck?
What about this? Like in StarCraft, just have like a fucking lobby where everybody stands around with some shitty avatar, and they have like
Gamble your
dances they want
EXP,
off the ladder.
man.
There
What if you
go.
could just gamble your EXP, no actual money involved, and just have a fucking leaderboard of people that pick matches correctly, a fucking EXP. You have 10 bajillion EXP.
Yeah, there's your
It's
betting.
completely worthless, but you can at least show off your E-penis,
You
and
get a
that will be enough for some people.
All people want is other people to see their e-penises. That's all people want. If
That
they're
is
not trying to
true.
be competitive at the game.
If you,
Even if
couldn't
they
see if you couldn't see each other's gun skins, no one would probably care.
That's a very yeah. That's huge. That's why so many people buy the pro player. That's why they have the stat trackers, so people know how good they are when they're spectating them in like a scrub game or something.
Just to go back to betting before we move on
Oh
from
my-
that forever. No, wait. So there's an average of like 50,000
Desert, you have a
people.
problem.
There's an average of 50,000 people betting on each match, like every day. Like if it's like scrubby teams, there's gonna be like 30k, and then for the other matches, it's like 50k. And the numbers are probably higher for like big tournaments like DreamHack and so on. But don't you think that's relevant, Steven? Having 50,000 people bet on like tier
No,
one matches?
I don't think it's of any relevance whatsoever. No,
Oh.
I think it's completely irrelevant.
Okay. All right, moving on to.
There's already betting in StarCraft. Like if you want to bet on StarCraft, you can already do it.
Yeah, but with
You can
real
gamble.
money.
You can bet with real money in StarCraft.
Yeah,
too.
you can bet with real money on StarCraft like very easily.
Yeah, but it's not as fun as betting skins, man.
Because you
No,
lose
people
money
only
sometimes.
bet skins. People only bet skins so they can sell them for real money, though. What do you mean?
Yeah, selling for real money is hard, but yeah, I know that's why they do it. But no, also getting knives and stuff. But anyway, next point.
Details don't matter.
Yeah, they do.
Why is Idle saying no? There isn't. Fucking talk to Roddy. Roddy talks to me all the time about the hundreds of euros and shit that they put on these fucking matches. Where there's got to be betting for StarCraft too. Somebody made a post on the
Yeah,
StarCraft
man.
subreddit
You
about that
can-
betting
you
site
can-
whose biggest game was StarCraft.
Yeah, there's 2 or 3
You can
sites. Yeah.
you
There's,
can
like, some
bet.
big Korean
Yeah,
ones.
man. The biggest one in Europe, like Unibet or whatever, you can bet on all the big tournaments. You could
Yeah,
you
but
could have
there's
bet.
an
they
age
had
limit. There's an age limit.
well, duh, it's real
and,
money gambling.
and then the buy-in
I mean,
is a lot higher.
I mean, this is
It
really
doesn't. The details don't matter.
My point is,
the
you can do it. It exists.
yeah. And I'm uncomfortable starting to argue about like should we let minors gamble? Like there's reasons why.
No, yeah.
minors
Fuck
should
that.
have-
That
Pull,
shouldn't.
pull it back.
like-
Pull it back. All right, bigger picture.
All right. Anyway, moving on. Should Blizzard be more proactive about the metagame? I'm not sure if that was part of your blog, but Dota, League of Legends, they always patch and always make the games crazy, regardless of the pro scene. And should Blizzard be more crazy about patching, maybe nerfing something and buffing something very strongly? Nathanias.
I think that the way that StarCraft works, it's like whenever you're changing anything as far as trying to get a different result, if that different result is matchup win rates or win rates overall or whatever, you only want to change so many variables at a time. And if StarCraft is one of the only games that actually has the map change really, really, really often. Like League of Legends had their big map change. Sometimes like things get tweaked, like the stats on the jungle creeps or whatever. But generally your strategies, it's not like, they changed like the number of paths through the jungle, so you can't do this gank anymore. It's not like that. But if StarCraft, but I don't think going for lots and lots of changes that completely fuck everything is like the magical solution. Obviously, it would make the game more interesting because you'd never know what to expect when you tuned in. But for the people that play professionally, I imagine it'd be a nightmare if they patched as often as Riot or Valve.
Yeah, when you
Well, to
factor
be
that
fair,
in-
Riot and Valve patch very differently. I think for Dota, somebody could correct me if I'm wrong, I'm more familiar. For Dota, there's not a big game-breaking patch except for like I want to say it's like once every 6 months or once a year where they do a huge patch with tons of changes. For League, I would say that Riot's patching actually has a pretty large impact on the game. Almost every time they patch. I haven't played League probably in about a year, but when I did play, every time a new patch came in, sometimes like almost it seemed like every patch would introduce some stupid broken shit that would actually almost completely change the way of the game. Like whether like people remember the age of Warmogs, where fucking you had like top laners that would be stacking like 3 fucking Warmogs that would never die. There was the League of Black Cleavers where every single fucking like
Yes.
shit were running around Black Cleavers fucking annihilating everything. When Blade of the Ruined King, Blade of the Ruined King came out initially, that shit was broke as fuck. People were annihilating everybody with that shit. You couldn't get away with it. There have been certain patches that have made some heroes permaban status. For the longest time, Kassadin would never ever be played because he was absolutely fucking unstoppable. Like I would say that Riot probably mixes and matches, or Riot's patching probably mixes up the pro scene by quite a bit every single patch. Like games are played significantly different. Maybe they don't change like gank lanes, but in terms of like nerfing or buffing the viability of certain junglers via item nerfs or buffs, like I think that does happen and does significantly affect the game quite a bit, I think.
That's the maps again. Like in StarCraft, people don't realize a lot of people think of imbalance and racial imbalance, but honestly, a lot of the results for a certain time frame come from those maps. Like if you have a map pool of like only merry-go-round, like King Sejong Station, and I don't know what's another good Terran map, especially like against Protoss or something like that, then you're gonna see a few more Terrans winning.
Yeah, Catalina.
Or Protoss or
Catalina, yeah.
right there, anything. But then you make another map like, I don't know, a Deadwing or something like that. You're gonna see maybe more Zergs winning. And a lot of people don't really think about the map pool as changing the game as much as they should. I'm not saying it's the biggest factor, but a lot of the imbalances don't come from whatever unit is OP, but
Yeah.
it's just OP in this map pool.
If
And
Blizzard decided to make next season's map pool have fucking Heavy Rain and Star Station and Yonsu back, they'd be like, man, they didn't patch any Protoss units? Why is Protoss winning every game again in 7 minutes or
Yeah.
less? It's like
So, like, no offense to desRow or any of the other Protoss players out there, but again, this is something I felt strong about for a long time. Protoss fucks the maps up so fucking hard. Like, every map we make has to have so many training wheels on it, because if it doesn't, it seems like the Protoss fucks up every matchup. Like, we have to, it's got to be a 2-force
Cannons here, cannons
The natural
there.
can't be too far
Cannons.
from the ramp. We have to make it so that the third is easy to move out and take. It's secure next to the natural. Like, all of these things have to exist perfectly. Otherwise, like, Protoss just insta-lose the game. The thing that I've championed the most, like, since fucking the early days of fucking, even before Heart of the Storm came out, is that Protoss, they need to, like knock off, like, the Mothership Core and the Sentry, and maybe even Warpgate, and just redesign from the ground up. Like, I feel like Protoss, like, dramatically needs a complete overhaul, because the map pool for this game, for StarCraft 2, is atrociously fucking boring. Every fucking map that doesn't, like, the maps that get, aside from the ones that get vetoed all the time, it seems like most maps play out pretty much the exact same. Everybody has the same builds that they use on the same maps almost always. You very, very, very rarely ever, I don't even know if I can think of a time where you ever see, like, a build, like, that caters to a specific map. That almost never happens in this
The map
game.
will
Like,
get
you
vetoed every time then. Like,
yeah, like, it seems like you have the same builds for the same maps, for the same matchups, and, like, everything is the same in every
That's
game.
not true.
Everything.
Some maps are good for blink all-in.
Yeah, but all of those
Right,
maps got
tough.
removed from the map pool because they were too good for blink all.
But
I wish that it was easier to make it so that it was all those maps were good.
That's why TDZ
I kind of
is always the best.
I want a world where we can have a Yonsu. I want a world where we can have Heavy Rain without everyone fucking bitching about the fact that Blink Collins are so strong on it. But that's a game design thing. So
yeah, but if we go back to the metagame being evolving often, so you guys are saying we need maps to change. The way WCS works, you're kind of stuck with the same map pool for quite a while. Like it's like 4 months almost per map pool. Is that too slow?
But still, 3 times a year you have it changing.
I'll
effectively.
say,
But compared to League and Dota, that's pretty slow.
Compared to Dota, that's actually like a faster major change, but
I really like, my biggest fear is that these 4 maps that Blizzards are about to announce are like they're
so
designed
scared.
so that the blink all in shit doesn't happen. They're designed so that a Zerg player can take an easy 4th base. They're designed so Protoss can get an easy natural, and all 4 maps like look the fucking same. It's
Yeah,
some
but that's
stupid
how
shit.
every map.
Let's get Daybreak
But
1 through 5.
that's it, right? I
That's like
honestly,
every
at this
single
point,
map, though.
I would be like, give Terran a map like Catalina, give Protoss a map like Heavy Rain or Yonsu, give Zerg a fucking map like, I don't know what's his favorite Zerg map, put that shit in there, and at least spread it out a little bit more rather than being like, well, this season all the maps need to have an easy to take 4th because Zergs could never get them. Like, no, and then the Zerg will veto that one map in tournaments, and if they don't, then then maybe they got some crazy ass shit ready. But I really
And ladder
don't
doesn't
like
matter
the
that much.
map. I really don't like the idea of this. Like, don't want to play on certain maps because I kind of miss like maps like Yonsu as much as I.
Well, ladder actually does matter a lot, Winter, because the WCS rules state that all tournaments that are in the WCS system have to use the ladder maps.
That's why I think
So-
that should be changed.
That should
I
be
think
changed.
overall,
I
like
really miss the
tournaments should be
days
able to
when
pick from a much larger pool. I
Yeah.
feel, and there
I
are more
really miss-
vetoes or something like that. But
Well, tournaments had a chance to pick any map they wanted for the last 2 months, and we saw what happened. So they all
Well, the
picked the
thing
same
is, like, I
fucking
really
maps
miss the
again.
days where it was like, oh, all of these tournaments are running alongside, and like the tournaments have like each tournament has like a slightly different map pool. You know, like I remember like MLG before
Those were the
they
good
just
old
started
days.
using really outdated maps. Like maps like Icy Cup Test Bug was in there and shit for like MLG, like nobody else used, and like shit like that was so cool. You saw some really cool games on maps like that. Now it's just like, okay, so what maps do we have? We have 3 variations of Whirlwind and 4 variations of Daybreak. Sick.
Yeah.
It's like, well, so what are we gonna do this? It's like, oh man, we've had Belshire Vestige in the
We
map.
haven't
for
made a
couple
lava
too many
themed
seasons.
Daybreak yet.
Well, yeah, like that's what it's like. It's like, oh man, people are getting sick of Belshire Vestige. Let's remove it and put in Overgrowth, which is essentially Belshire Vestige, with like
Yeah.
a couple.
we've
very
had at least
small
one of those
changes.
maps in every season. Like
Yeah.
5 bases, like kind of thinner map, like every single time.
Overgrowth, Belshire. There was another
what was-
one. There was another one that looked like it.
Ohana was before
Ohana,
that.
kind of. There was one. What was the green
The
map?
precursor.
There was a green map where like you went down to take your ramp. Your third was like you had to go down a ramp, and there's your third, and then you go up a ramp. Does anyone know what I'm talking
Yonsu.
about? No.
Yansu?
Wait.
I think it was Yansu. Yansu's kind of like one of those maps, not quite. But
Yonsei was a snowy map, wasn't it?
There was
it
a
was
green
half snow
side
and
and
half
then
green.
snow, yeah. Bottom left was
Ele-
the snow, or the green.
No,
they were
it
all,
wasn't
like,
Yonsei.
small
Yonsei
maps.
was the one with like the destructible rocks leading down to your 3rd/4th, right?
Yes.
It wasn't Yonsei. It was a different fucking map. But it looked like these other two. Oh god, somebody in chat has to know this. I've asked about this map before and I always forget it.
Belshire Beach.
No.
I mean, that's
All the
ancient
there's so
history.
many 2-player, like 5 bases per person.
Alright guys,
but-
so
Doesn't-
so the
doesn't- it didn't
maps
keep up.
so the maps help the metagame. Now after they ship Legacy of the Void, should there be new units added in to keep the metagame changing?
I'd like to see that. I'd like to see them at least try it.
Oh, of course. Within
Like new champ-
long enough periods of time.
Because
What, did Brutal ever have that? Were there new units added
No.
ever after the expansion? No.
No.
Okay.
well the thing
Why
about,
does Mirva's SC2? You guys have no idea about maps. Sincerely, a map maker. Please, a random fucking any map maker can just critique fucking professional players' opinions on fucking maps, or semi-professional
It
players'
feels
opinions
the
on
same.
maps. If you have something to say it, you fucking retard. Don't just say you have no idea about maps because
It
you're
doesn't
salty
matter
because
which
you're one
brand of condom you're wearing.
perfectly
Like,
balanced, got fucking turned down from the fucking map maker contest. Please kill yourself. I'm done.
oh,
Alright.
whoa, whoa.
Destiny.
yeah, so
Just slip that in there.
because if we look at the past, the Banshee has been nerfed and buffed and nerfed. The Tank
Whoa,
too.
don't- Not that Banshee.
Bunker build
Banshee's
time, man.
actually, that's actually the worst example. Banshee's the only unit he's the only unit in StarCraft 2 that's never been nerfed.
No. Well,
Is
yeah, no, but maybe. But anyway, the point is like they buff the cloak cost. They
We're
buff
talking
the.
about legacy changes now?
No, I'm just talking about the past. Like they changed stuff to make
Alright.
the metagame change, like the Banshee buff, the tank buff, so that you didn't need the siege research. What kind of so If we
Wait,
want
what are we talking about right now?
the metagame changing, like we need the game to be more
The
proactive.
patches.
Yeah, to be
like
more
this.
different.
Not maps.
Yeah, none
balance
maps.
changes, right?
Yeah, it's just balance changes to
You know, they're both kind of the same thing, but we're splitting it off.
yeah, just to keep the game changing and evolving and more fun for people to like, oh, the game's gonna be so different and come back to play, instead of being like a whole expansion, just being like a few units added in.
I feel like the answer to this isn't trying to make the 1v1 thing more like evolved and dynamic. I feel like they need to look at team games a little bit more then. Because I don't feel like the average 'cause
Archon
team games are kind of where it's at. Like if you look at FPSs, if you look at Dotas and all that shit, like team games are like really, really, really popular. Maybe taking a look at like the 2v2, 3v3, and 4v4, the map pool, maybe even having like a different balance for 2v2s and 3v3s and 4v4s.
Why have they never
Like-
added that? Like units
Like
balanced for 2v2. Like
Yeah, like that would be. I think that would be a more.
I think we
proactive-
received a blanket response. What was it, like maybe 4 years ago? I think we got one blanket response was team games are too hard to balance, and that was it. We had one. There's actually only one
we're
patch
looking
in
into it
StarCraft 2.
internally.
No. Team.
No,
games
no,
are
no,
too
no, no.
hard-
They said. I'm pretty sure it was an interview or something where Dustin
Yeah,
Browder
sure.
or someone said
I know
that.
why they said it. I know why they said it. Team games are too hard to balance competitively, but they're not too hard to balance to make them fun. I think that you could balance team games to make it pretty fucking wacky. It might not be like the epitome of like competitive RTS, but
like
you could balance
ARAM
it to be like fun as
and
fuck,
all.
right?
Why does it
Yeah,
have?
you could throw in like
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Get a
Like, it doesn't have to be,
Reaver in
like-
there or something. I don't know, like some
What the
random
fuck?
ass units.
It doesn't
Hero
have to be like
out.
ultra balance.
Yeah, but-
WCF 3v3 matches.
Yeah, but maybe with Archon mode, the team games are not going to be that important anymore.
Yeah,
I
want
want
to see
to
how that
see
plays out.
Archon mode tournaments, man.
Archon mode's not going to be that.
Let's see Flash and Jaedong as an Archon team. Come on.
I think that would go horribly. I think any
Archon
pro
mode-
player.
Probably.
I hate to say this because it looks exciting and I'm excited for it and I was, but Archon mode is not going to do anything. No one is going to play Archon mode. Archon mode already existed in StarCraft and StarCraft
Yeah.
Brood War. Nobody fucking played
Yeah,
it
but
then.
there was no ladder for it. There's going to be a ladder for Archon mode.
We'll
This
have
is
to
like
see. It's
like a
executed.
That's because there's a ladder for everything in StarCraft 2. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that people are going
There's
to
an
play. I mean, there's a
is
ladder
there
for
an
2v2.
FFA ladder. Like, no, there's no FFA ladder, right?
Yes, there is, but it's like a search
What?
time of like an hour.
there's no ladder, but you can queue. There's matchmaking for it.
And then be AFK when it pops in an hour and a half. Like,
Yeah, basically. We kind of covered everything in your blog, Destiny. Do you have any final thoughts?
No, fuck Protoss. Fuck the map pool. Fuck Blizzard. No, I'm just
whoa.
kidding. I hope
Save
that
Do
How
they
much
wanna
money? What if we
graphic
did like
back
a? We should do like a Kickstarter. We should like petition Blizzard and find out how much it would cost to buy the StarCraft IP from them. What do you think that would sell for?
Jesus.
Or we could even like borrow it from them and then we could give it back to them in 10 years when they want to make StarCraft 3. Because I feel like at this point, they're just like, well, fuck, StarCraft is fucked. Like, fuck this shit. We'll launch like Legacy of the Void, and then our dev team will go to work on Heroes, and then in the future we'll release Warcraft 4, and that's when we'll try
They
again.
turned 18 and then they kicked us out. Like, that's about it. You call them every once in a while asking for money and they don't give you it. That's what it feels like a little bit.
Imagine
right?
if we kickstarted StarCraft 2, we bought the IP as a community, and then we just threw the whole thing up on like GitHub or
There's
something.
not that much
and then
money
we
in
just
StarCraft
had everybody,
easily.
and we had everybody work on it. Dude, that would be fucking awesome. Holy shit. That's all I got for now.
That's not realistic. Like, the thing is, like, your blog does a lot of good work, but you gotta be careful, man, when you talk to Scion on Reddit and so on, because then it just... It, like,
Oh,
you're-
desRow
you're-
giving him advice?
you're
No, fuck you.
You're putting
You
sticks in your wheels.
No, fuck off. Because the conversation that I
hypocrisy.
had, the conversation that I had with Blizzard when I made my initial blog post, I was the nicest fucking person ever. But every single fucking response that I got from that guy before, I don't know if his name was Cloakin or whoever the fuck it was the exact same shit that Cyan is saying now, which is, yo, why don't we do this or this or this or this? And he's like, well, we just don't have the amount of developers available to work on this. Oh, well, have you ever thought about like doing this to like raise money or whatever to like maybe justify the cost of it? Well, I mean, we'll talk about it internally. Okay, well, I mean, like, well, what about doing just something like this? Like, well, we really don't have the developers right now to work on something. Well, why is it that Valve are right? Well, they have a lot more engineers that work for them. Well, then, I mean, like that was every single fucking answer. Like, well, I don't know why the guy like couldn't just say like in a private Skype combo and then deny it later. Like, yo, like we don't have the fucking money to work on this. The team that works on StarCraft 2 is currently working on Heroes. We don't think there's any, cash positive future in the future for StarCraft 2. So we're not gonna assign any more engineers to work on it. Like, fucking suck my dick. That's it. Like, if he would have just said something like that, then I'm like, all right, that's cool. Like, at least I know. The Scion guy is the exact same way though. This guy, I'm sorry, dude. I sound like an asshole. I love Scion. He's probably a cool dude, but he doesn't know anything. He's not privy to information. He's just getting the corporate line sent down to him from corporate that he comes and he pushes along in every fucking Reddit thread. He can do, oh no, we're listening to it. Oh, blah blah blah. Like, why do I have to be like really nice to that guy so that I can get to a private Skype convo and then he can shove the corporate line down my throat like in a private Skype convo? Hey, Dustin, we read your post. It was really cool. We want you to know that we're internally reviewing it. We're looking at, like, I could write his stuff. I could hack Sion's Reddit account and I could have it for like 2 or 3 years and no one would even know the difference. And I could go around and post official Blizzard responses to everything, like, hey guys, I just want you to know the dev team, we're definitely taking a look at this and we're really excited, and we'll have an indefinite announcement and an indefinite point in time on an indefinite forum somewhere in the indefinite future. Like, every single post that he puts is like that. Like, what, like I love you, desRow.
I just don't think he can like tell you all the details publicly. Like, he's got his hands tied.
Did you hear the private conversation thing here?
What?
Yeah,
no. I understand. It's
the most politically correct way he is saying the game is dead.
Hell no. Come on. All right.
That's pretty much
You're reading too much into, text that a person is legally, screened basically before they release. So.
Yeah, but it's not even so much about what they are
Might
saying.
as well not be a person.
So much as what they're not saying. Like, if you can't give like any definitive answers or point towards any definitive thing with any substance, and it's just a bunch of general vagueness.
I thought you were aware of other things, but they're actually being pretty communicative. There are things moving that aren't bullshit answers. I'm not sure I'm at liberty to go into depths on this, but I'm sure, Steven, we could discuss this later.
On too.
I wasn't aware that you weren't aware that there are methods to provide.
There might be something different coming down the pipeline, but I mean, in the past, I was one of the guys that was aware.
It's not as bad as you make it sound.
That's never come to fruition. The stuff that they're working in the background, and me and Katz and QXC and a bunch of other people that were in these backroom fucking Skype convos with fucking Husky and Mr. Bitter and the fucking Blizzard dudes had all this cool shit in the background that never fucking came to fruition. Maybe something is different in the future. If it's something to do with WCS, I don't give a fuck, because WCS has zero impact on the successfulness of StarCraft 2 as an esport, like it or not. So I mean, maybe there's something else that's coming in the future, and like, if it is, it's really cool. I mean, if you want to tell me about it later, then maybe we can talk about it, but I don't know, man. The Russell.
I can't disagree. Until I hear something different, my opinion remains the same.
It's good that you're very passionate, because we need passionate people to make things change. We just need
thanks, desRow.
We just need to be productive, man. So do you have anything
We need someone with the biggest dick in order to wave it around.
Well,
all right. I think Destiny can be that guy for StarCraft 2.
It's the right man for the job. Do you have any final thoughts before I let you go, Steven?
Yeah, guys, if you want to buy shit, go to destiny.gg/Amazon. Make sure to buy my affiliate link. I really appreciate when you do that. It gets me lots of money. Also, follow me on Twitter, where I make fun of famous girls like Anne Prag. And make sure that you are following my stream at twitch.tv/Destiny as well. That's all I got.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Yep, have fun. I love you, Rip.
Bye. Alright, guys, so that was Destiny coming on to talk about his blog. It was somehow productive. Was it?
At least everything's out in the open now.
I mean, we weren't sure if this was just going to be a circle jerk about how we want stuff that we can't have, but I think we've confirmed that it, in fact, was now.
Well,
we had good intentions.
This all stemmed from Reddit in the first place. I don't know what else you expected.
Well, I guess it's not bad to talk about it a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know. Sion is like the nicest guy, and I think his efforts will come to fruition.
It's important to at least say that the reason why talking about details in public is a bad idea is because things fucking change all the time. So, like, just the fact that, there could have been somebody that was like, yo, maybe we shouldn't show the Cyclone in the Alpha mod at BlizzCon. That could have been a possible discussion, and someone would be like, why wouldn't you want to show that? We want people to know that we're working on new stuff. And they're like, yeah, but then people are just going to bitch about it, and it's going to change, and it won't matter, right? And that's pretty much all that happened for like the couple weeks following, and now no one cares, and then they're going to announce basically a completely changed unit whenever they do another, open thing or release the beta. So there's a reason why you don't want to just put information out there for people to examine and rip apart, because people are going to whine and complain, but you'd rather have something good ready to show. And like, that's You know, that's something that people need to keep in mind. It's not just about being PR. It's also about not promising more than you can deliver.
Yeah, because Reddit is
That's
really
actually
quick.
being PR too. Like,
Yeah, that's me being totally PR. But you know, like that's because I talk to these people about this shit, and I understand that they're not like ignoring everybody. Like you know,
Yeah.
just sitting there rolling up.
They're in
dollar
a very
bills
tough
with
position.
packs.
It
Yeah,
is
it's not
important for like it is very important though, like Nathanias says, to understand that like Blizzard is communicating a lot, and like the biggest thing is that they are considering things that they just don't want made public because they don't know if they're going to be able to deliver. And like there are examples of that. Like for instance, like a few people knew that the map pool was going to be was like probably going to be changed, but they don't want to make a public announcement of that until it's confirmed, right? Because then you don't want to be in a position where you've promised something and then like 2 or 3 weeks down the line you realize, oh shit, we're actually not in a position to be able to deliver on this.
Yeah.
So like they do listen to community feedback, and they do like they are communicating like consistently with people in the community as well. So that is something that should be noted.
I think we all just want them to do it better. I think that's what
Yeah.
it boils down to. So
That's fair.
we know what we want, and we know we aren't. The vast majority of people aren't satisfied with the interaction Blizzard's having with the community, and I think that's the only TLDR that's really required.
Yeah. All right, moving on because there's a few more topics. WCS age restriction adjustment. With the latest change to WCS, any player not 16 by February is not allowed to play. RIP, Arium, RIP, Brood
Yep.
Solo, RIP. What's the name of the kid
Rip
on your
Raynor.
team? Yeah, Raynor. Rip
Ariam is also on my team.
Oh yeah, that's
It
right.
made me really sad. It made me really sad. In America, we had the freedom to play StarCraft at 13 years old. Now they've put
Which
the old
country
worker
is
laws in.
fucking this?
It's Germany, man. Germany has the sickest labor laws in the whole world. They just need, they need to get a studio in like Denmark or some shit. Just when they fly the players in, just fucking Germany anti.
Wait, is it
anti-labor
WCS
laws.
wide or just WCS EU?
It's all
Well, it's
WCS
WCS
because it's a
because-
combined thing now.
Yeah,
because ESL
like, you can't-
does
Well,
everything.
you can't qualify. Say you're in WCSNA, right? Say they allow a younger player in WCSNA to play. So you play, you qualify for global WCS. The offline portion is in Cologne. You can't play. It's illegal. So
Yeah.
then you're fucked. You have to forfeit. So this is why it was the age restriction was 16 last year for WCS Europe, but not for NA. So I would assume I don't know if they're gonna have each season in Cologne or like different seasons in different locations.
They're
I would
splitting the
assume if they-
groups. Like
Well,
after
like,
groups in
oh.
EU and after groups in NA.
Because like I would imagine like say they did season 1 in Germany and like season 2 in America, then I would imagine that you can that like you could play if you were younger if it was like hosted in America. But like if it's in Germany because of the laws, you're not allowed to play. So that screws it over for people like Ariam, and I think like it should be a situation where like Ariam tweeted at I think it was Messiosa earlier. It's like asking if it's possible, say if he gets like a signed form with parental consent. I think something like that should be allowed, but it's just the case that like it may not be possible with the way the laws work.
Yeah, that's a shame because they have a lot of talent and they're not gonna get to show it until they get 16. Last item, and then we're gonna ask a question or two from Reddit and Twitter. DreamHack to replace StarCraft 2, possibly, allegedly, to replace StarCraft 2 for CS:GO as their flagship. So Nathanias,
Is this a surprise?
As someone, what are you gonna say, desRow?
as someone who is compromised and worked a lot for DreamHack, what are your thoughts?
Oh, compromise. Do you think it means that this is a negative thing for StarCraft? I disagree. I think
Oh,
we're
really?
gonna hear even cooler news next year.
What?
I would be confident. I don't, and the scary thing is I'm not actually certain, but I'm pretty. I would say that this is not entirely a bad thing at all. So. I wouldn't worry about it. Counter-Strike is going to pull bigger live audiences, and as especially a Swedish company where the largest audience for Counter-Strike is in Sweden, it kind of makes sense. Yeah. Anybody who's been to a DreamHack, by the way, when the Swedish players are playing, no matter how good or bad they are, that's when the place is packed beyond belief. So
Yeah.
it makes sense.
My opinion has been that like I don't think it's gonna make any difference at all. It could, like my boss is like super worried that some of the DreamHack Open tournaments are gonna drop it, and like it'll only be at summer and winter. But he's like the biggest pessimist in the world. We haven't heard anything about which events will have StarCraft and which won't. Personally, I just think it's gonna be fine. Like we might be relegated to a smaller stage offline, but as long as the prize pool stays the same, and like that'll ensure that the player pool will pretty much remain the same, and from there, the viewership's gonna remain basically the same as well. So I don't really see this is too bad.
It could almost be better if they have less events, because then the few events they do have will always have a better lineup more than likely.
That's true.
Instead of just every open event having like 5 Koreans that have a decent chance at winning and then some random people. Like we saw in like Moscow this year, for example.
My hopes is that they drop the Swedish TV and Norwegian TV so that they can just go with the flow instead of having a very tight schedule with a lot of downtime. Because their product right now is very inferior to IEM and Red Bull. It's very shit. And it is. And that's because they have to follow the TV schedule. And like people historically, like since esports started getting bigger, everyone was like, we can't do what TV does. We don't want to be like TV. And I think like DreamHack, their product is like a really good example of why we shouldn't be like TV. Like following a strict schedule just fucks up the momentum. Like everyone was hype at the semifinals. They're like, oh my god, 4GG's a god. And I don't know, it was like live beating 4G Teja. And then fucking an hour later, then you have the finals. It's like, okay, well, my donger was the Lord like an hour ago. How am I supposed to be excited?
StarCraft on TV is really hard to schedule because it's impossible to know whether you're going to have, like what happened at DreamHack, which was a bunch of fucking, 3-0, 3-0, 3-0 that ended with 10-minute games. And it's like, well, we budgeted an hour and a half because, God forbid Snoot manages to get on 4 bases, then we have Swarm hosts and the entire schedule is fucked for the day, which, by the way, actually ended up happening on the second day of the tournament, I believe. So, like, stuff like that's a really big problem. It makes more sense to broadcast other games, like I said, for Swedish audience reasons, but also it's you have a clear minimum and maximum amount of time that a Counter-Strike match can take simply based on the in-game constrictions and how long a round goes, and stuff like that. So that makes it a lot easier to schedule, and I think it actually opens more doors than people probably are currently willing to believe. And a DreamHack guy even showed up in one of the threads to give a PR response, like, guys, we haven't announced all of our shit. So
that's pretty cool. Then
yes, I'm
excited.
So in case nobody knows, there was a PR response. If I'm supposed to be the PR ass kisser guy today, there was one of those in the Reddit thread about it, just saying it. And as someone who I obviously I'm not an employee of any organization, so I can speak my mind. But the point is, I can say that if people who are worried that like StarCraft is dead to DreamHack, like, calm the fuck down and just wait for more information.
That actually is just one final part that's not exactly part of it, but I'm sure we've heard this hundreds of times before. But downsizing is good, guys, right? No, but there are too many tournaments.
From what I've heard, I don't think this is a downsize. It's just they're just changing the way things are going. So,
and I think
people just need to be patient, because from what I've gotten the impression of, I think we could end up with something better. I don't know.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I mean, it's like indirectly good because CS:GO is popular, and then we get to have a new recipe. All right, moving on to your questions, guys. There's a lot of people that ask questions on Reddit and Twitter. We're going to try to get to it very quickly because Winter has to go because he's got a girlfriend. We don't, but
I've got enough time.
Okay. Then
Are there any interesting questions? Only interesting questions for this.
Oh, man. You wouldn't believe the things I have to screen through. All right. Let's see. Oh, what do you think about the Bay Street TV drama? Do we even need someone like Rifkin? Surely they can just fire him and replace him.
Can I just quickly speak on this and then
yes.
Get off of this subject? So this is a classic case of Rifkin not understanding how important he is to the community, and the community treating Rifkin like he's important to the community. So Rifkin ran his own tournament. Something fucked up. He had to haphazardly throw some shit together to get admins for it. There was a tough situation, and as the only person that can make a tough call, Rifkin's like, okay, we need to actually finish the qualifier, you know, so that we can get this tournament going. So he made a choice. Obviously, that guy wasn't happy about it, and like it really wasn't as big of a deal as anybody thinks it was. The problem was obviously Rifkin needs some PR training because his response showed that he didn't really think people were going to take his word, you know, very heavily. So that's my PR response for this subject.
He idred it.
Yes,
is what he did.
Yes.
He idred it, and
Yeah,
I think Rifkin knows like.
Yeah.
yeah.
He fucked up, but he does so much shit and works so hard for everybody.
Yeah.
And he gets frustrated sometimes, and that's understandable, I think.
People don't appreciate what Base Trade TV does enough if the only merit they put on it is Rifkin's obvious lack of game knowledge, because being able to put together a consistent production with the community that he has for his chat and actually covering all of these different tournaments, like people seem to forget about how it was before we had people like Rifkin. Like, online tournaments didn't get any exposure. You barely got to see tournaments. Like, Playhem had a small broadcast team, and those guys got good viewers just because they put together a stream for it. But Go for SC2, people didn't stream that. There was no official stream. Go for SC2 certainly didn't have 3-4K viewers like it does now.
Yeah.
Same thing goes for the Zotac Cups. Nobody watched those. You know, those are the stuffs like, I know desRow, you and me, we would have the top viewers for those because we would be playing in them, and that would be the only way people would basically watch those tournaments. So
yeah, fuck Rifkin.
Rifkin does a very important job of giving these tournaments exposure, and yeah, okay, I'm not going to be the guy here to defend Rifkin's commentary, but Base Trade TV is an integral part of our community, and I just don't. Rifkin's response didn't seem to show that he understood that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was just a case of him having a very he goes through these phases where he's casting like so fucking much that he's sleeping like 4 hours a night maximum for an extended period of time. I think he just kind of snapped and didn't realize how much of an issue that was. Like, because the issue wasn't that the guy was caught map hacking and that the other guy didn't get to play. The issue, 99% of it, was the response, and I think he realizes that now. But like, I mean, I think this drama has, like, there's beating a dead horse, and then this is like, if there's like a much stronger saying of beating a dead horse, that's this drama. Like, it's been talked so much to death that at this point it's just like, come on, can we just move on?
Mm-hmm. Well, I want to put in my 2 cents before we move on. As someone who's fucked up a lot of times and have done a lot of terrible things.
Tell us more.
No, that's as far as I'll go. So, as someone who's not in a place to have a moral high ground on Rifkin or anything, I think everyone makes mistakes, and it's not something new for Rifkin. Like, it's not the first time, but I'm happy for him that it's now and not later, so that he can learn and get better at it, and that in the future things will go smoother. So everyone has to make mistakes. Everyone has to learn and mature at their own pace, and that moment was for Rifkin. Yeah. So good luck to him, and yeah, without Rifkin, the scene would suck a lot more than it would suck. Yeah, a lot more. There you go. All right, questions from Twitter. All right, guys, dear Lord, the things I'm reading.
Has Nathanias sold out?
Can you tell Nathanias how sexy his beard looks today? Thank you. All right.
It's about
That's not a question.
Oh, well, you know what? I think it was a very important thing to address.
I guess that's a
kind Twitterino.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I feel like the StarCraft 2 Twitch community is falling because of the way the game works and how uncreative it is. What are your thoughts?
The Twitch community?
As in, like,
I'll take
watching streams.
I'll take this one.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Winter.
I think that for a long while, because people reference, like, people would go watch Idra, people would go watch Stefano, people go watch these people. There was a while, which the only reason I got popular in the first place, because of obviously the view bot. So I just want to say right now, 4 hours is the amount I've ever been view botted, and that was well documented. But anyways, the reason I got popular because I saw, like, people, there are so many Koreans streaming, but everybody's complaining, like, Destiny switched over to League because the game was dying. There were just not streamers who focused on being entertaining, and there weren't enough streamers kind of showing the example. in StarCraft 2, because I find, especially in the Twitch community of StarCraft 2, people don't look outside StarCraft. Like, they're not looking at CSGO streams or League streams, because that'd be just a dirty betrayal. They're looking at just StarCraft streamers. And just StarCraft streamers, for a long while, were just, who's the best? And I'm going to tell you right now, 99% of people on Twitch are not over Gold League. I'm not talking about Twitch StarCraft. I'm talking about Twitch overall. And eventually, if you want to bring more players into the game, they're not going to be very good. So having a split of streamers who focus on making the game entertaining and making it something that you can watch at a less than professional level, and still you need those professional players streaming, but without both, it's going to seem like the Twitch community is having a tough time. I know people like Balloon have been streaming a lot more. I know you do a lot of streaming. Even you, Nathan, have been streaming a lot more. And all those are things I think people like seeing, even though none of us have even played in WCS Premier. So it's
important because like there are people like Myungsik that don't get any viewers because it's the standard, because it's like, okay, well, the guy hasn't won anything, so the average person won't know who he is. Obviously, anyone that's involved in the scene knows Myungsik's very good, but it's a no webcam, no mic, Korean pop music, and you'd be like, wow, it's 2 a.m. and there's no StarCraft has like 500 viewers. Yeah, but then if any one of us like, you know, fire up a stream, then all of a sudden the numbers go up. It's like, the thing is, it's how many people are streaming consistently is really, really important, and people don't seem to value that quite a bit. But yeah, the biggest problem with the Twitch community is that it relied heavily on the whole pro gamer thing, and none of the pro gamers that obviously aren't streaming anymore, well, none of them were professional streamers. So
not many of them were that great players either.
Yeah.
Like, not winning everything all the time. I mean, Stefano was good, but when he was good, was he streaming 100 hours a month? No. He wasn't even practicing 100 hours a month, probably, but that's a different point. It's the thing, there's, even more than any other game, StarCraft is probably, I think, individually by far the most mechanical game, the most mechanical skill required, and just streaming directly contradicts what you need to do to be a top pro player. Yep. And that's the issue. So top pros are never going to stream as much as people would like. Like Polt's probably the most entertaining like top pro streamer, which is why he's always pulling in like 4 or 5K when he's streaming. But he doesn't need to stream that much because he's focused on being a top pro. And I don't know a way to bridge that gap very well, because you'll only see either in the off season or I guess people who have been obviously knocked out of a tournament. You'll see people who got knocked out of WCS stream for a few hours at some point. But you're never going to see a top player streaming every night. So I'm not entirely sure the way to bridge that gap, but...
All right. Next question. Sorry. How a fan of StarCraft 2 can do something to change the future model of Legacy of the Void? Nathanias.
I think we did that.
How a fan can change the future? So to counteract all the PR shit I've been saying today, one thing that's important, even if people like Sion cannot directly address the concerns of people, you know, for legal reasons or, you know, employer-based restrictions, when you guys when there is something that everybody is willing to rally behind, be it a feature that is very wanted or an obvious glare with the current state of the game, it's important to be active, upvote the threads about positive changes, and keep that in the eyes of the people that read this community that don't write the PR messages. Because when there are uproars over things, even if Sion can't come in and directly address it, when people bring this stuff up, it still gets to the people to look at. Obviously, it doesn't mean anything's going to happen, but you want to at least keep the things that the community wants the most. Those things should always be in the front. The things that don't matter, like if you want to be a positive influence on the community and changes that are going to happen, maybe not to the game, because that's, you know, the average person's just not going to be able to really influence that. Try to downvote stupid shit on the public forums. As much as we talk about how small the community is relative to the actual player base, everybody that works with the game is a hardcore player, so we all read that shit. So yeah. I don't know. Try to make the community less toxic.
You won't see, obviously you go to League of Legends, you'll see the top posts have like 500 plus comments all the time, stuff like that. It's a lot of the people, there was some statistic on Reddit where 10%, this was released by Reddit, about 10% of people vote on average, and 10% of those people actually comment. I think if people, even if you have what might seem like a controversial opinion or something like that, I say in the most hypocritical way, But if you have a controversial opinion or something like that, post it. And even if you do get downvoted or something like that, or you don't feel like you got the response you wanted, you have to ignore. If you feel strongly that something's positive, you should make that known, even if the response to you is very negative. Because people will read that. People will open those deleted comments,
Oh,
or not
yeah.
deleted comments. They'll read like,
Really
why is this one
downvoted ones.
downvoted so hard?
Mhm.
And the more and more you see of people with positive opinions, the more better it's going to be overall.
Yes, very well said. All right, last question. There was a few good ones. Okay, two more. Guess opinion on having matchup-specific ladder maps. Wait, no, we talked about that. Sorry, I read that wrong.
Matchup specific, as in like ZVT.
Yeah.
Isn't that just it comes back down to player base, right?
Yeah.
I can't even see pros playing that. Like, they just
Nope.
go practice with some of a certain race.
Yep.
All right, last question. What what was your guys' favorite era of StarCraft 2? Early wings, mid wings, late wings, early aughts now.
They're like epochs of StarCraft.
Mid wings? Why?
There's two different.
What?
Like, in what way?
Like just like the
Like-
the discovery, the metagame, the games themselves. Like
Well, the metagame was honestly pure shit up until like what the Widowmine got nerfed at the start of HOTS, because every single game you saw like the same thing every single, it was like they made this new all in, and then eventually it was Broodlord and Fester tournaments. Obviously, I think the tournament experience was amazing in 2012 and early 2013, like when HOTS came out, like some of those tournaments, like anyone that went to IPL 5, like that was like holy fucking shit. That was one of the most amazing things I've ever been to in my whole entire life. But it's tricky to say like what's my favorite overall, because I think right now the state of the game, we've seen the most variety this year in strategies, play styles, viable builds. We've seen like people, it's like, yeah, well, 2012 and 2013 weren't they great? Yeah, but Protoss didn't win anything back then either, right? Like the game was so
And
fucking
no one
broken.
cared.
Yeah, like Terran won every single game versus Protoss with the 1-1-1. It's like, yeah, this was the best time ever watching Puma cheese everyone in GSL. It's like, well, not really, guys. And then Broodlord and Fester, but tournaments were great because there's more money being put in. Right now, the game itself is much better.
That's a good point. Yeah, I can agree with that.
what about
I
you?
think though,
Winter?
I want to say like the one big change to the spectator experience. It's not even anything to do with the game. Adding the Heart of the Swarm changes to like the graphical updates to physics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It just makes the game look so much cooler. Like anyone who looks in a StarCraft stream right now, or better a StarCraft tournament, especially those high quality ones like Red Bull or something, you just get excited every time something dies. It seems like it's not a big deal, and it doesn't matter to pro players who are playing on like low graphics with reduced violence. But the spectator experience of the game is the best it's ever been. Despite the fact that tournaments have kind of dropped off in their scope, I guess you could say. Like, you're not getting, I don't know, however many people attended those early MLGs or whatever. I actually went to MLG in 2011 and, like, took up the entire place. That doesn't really happen anymore, which kind of sucks.
To Winter's point as well, people forget simple things like we didn't have custom interfaces before Heart of the
No
Swarm.
hotkeys, yo.
You could only watch the game from the regular, like as if you were playing perspective.
My favorite thing about HOTS, like to date, is still how, as an observer, you can now move around while it's paused.
And you can zoom in and out and shit. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. I really liked when everything was new. I think my favorite moment for me was like when Huck was doing well. So like first half of like 2011. What?
Well, that's just people, that's just the nostalgia about.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know. It was really nice
Take
to
off
rally.
your glasses.
Hey, man, I already did my whining about how much I hate WCS coming up. I would love to see something. I'd love to see Americans playing on big stages. That's all I want. As an American,
NSL
that's all I
season
want.
1, baby.
That's all I want, man. I want to be able to cheer for my own people. Is that so
Yeah,
wrong?
exactly. That's what I was
Just
gonna
deal
say.
with Pult.
What? Hell no, man.
Oh my god.
I want to see QXC and Puck grand finals on fucking giant ass stage. Let's do it.
Just one last, because Winter's here and it's relevant. Do you think the speed of StarCraft 2 is healthy for newcomers? 6 pooling, proxy 2 racks, 4-gate all-in, drone rushing to master.
Only
Drone
diamond.
rushing
Only
to
diamond.
master.
Yeah.
I got
do that to
diamond with drone
masters
rushing.
anymore.
Only one of them.
So, Winter, your thoughts on the
Okay.
speed of StarCraft?
I don't think StarCraft is too fast for a new player at all. I think that a lot of people get intimidated, especially when the first stream you watch is like Jadong or 4GG or something like that, or even me, for someone who's never seen StarCraft. I'm still playing at like
I spam the
15
shit ton.
times the APM of a League of Legends player. Like, I don't. Oh, it's not too fast. I think people. One of the mindsets people need to get over is that cheese is bad, or all-ins just mean you can't play the game. You have to just accept everything as being part of the game, and if you can do that, then it makes it a lot easier to kind of deal with those builds. A bronze player is still going to lose to a 6-pool every time for like 15 times, depending on how bronze they are, but I don't think it's too intimidating once you really get to know it.
Yeah.
I
What about
don't know what you guys...
What about you, Nathanias? Do you love your cheese? You think it's too much?
I don't cheese, so I'm one
You
of
never
those guys
cheese?
that-
You never two racks?
You would never
Should
be
I-
angry at
I
people
don't-
cheesing on the ladder, would you?
well,
Oh!
no, only when I lose.
Yeah.
Only when I lose.
Actually,
Class.
Stefano was watching your stream and he said he enjoyed the salt.
Some guy proxy 10 gated me and I defended it and I was like all happy, and then the guy ended up like winning with some weird shit. It was upsetting. The thing is, I still like people always ask me about like rage and shit, but I GG well played everybody. But obviously in real life, I'm gonna be like, fuck, I really shouldn't have lost to that, because I shouldn't have lost to that.
Yeah.
The highs and lows of StarCraft. Personally, I think there's nothing better than to win with a proxy 2-gate in PvP, or a proxy 2-gate with stalkers in PvP.
You're just a dirty Protoss through
No,
and
but
through,
like
right?
it's like playing Hearthstone or going to the casino. It's like there's so much gamble. It's like if you get it, you're like, oh my god!
You just love your betting, all
What?
right?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm an addict.
Flipping the
I-
coins.
My
in
opponents count their cards a lot, because every time I 2-racks, a probe or a drone always show up by my fucking barracks. Always.
You have any thoughts about the pace of the game, Penguin?
I'm Swiss, so obviously I really like cheese.
Oh,
Oh!
so smooth.
No, I enjoy cheesing a lot. I have a lot of cheese builds that I like to come up with cheese builds. I'm a terrible person. I also very much don't like
You're
being
Zerg,
cheesed.
right?
Yeah, I'm Zerg.
You're one of those people, the Zerg cheesers, the few.
Well, I actually went through
The
a phase like
Scorpion.
a year ago where I started. I spent like maybe 2 or 3
Hitman.
months dual racing Zerg and Protoss, and like Zerg, I also like I have pretty decent macro, but like Protoss, I didn't macro a single game. Like I just cheesed every single Protoss game. That was fun times.
Okay, cool, guys.
Yeah, I like
That's
cheese.
yeah. Okay. Oh, what the hell? Okay, guys. That's it for today. We're gonna do the shoutouts. Then I'm gonna host QXC, and we'll be on our merry way. And then we'll be back next week. So, Penguin, where can we see you play next, and so on?
I haven't really been streaming all that much, but I sometimes stream at.
Weren't you an ASL Challenger?
Yeah, I lost there. That was sad.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I whined a little bit on Twitter about mech on Dreampool maps.
Oh,
Caparino.
cappuccino.
He's just
So
enjoying
that was
his
sad. But yeah, I stream sometimes at twitch.tv/penguin_sc, but not for a while. Otherwise, I'm on Twitter at MYIPenguin, and my shout-outs be shout out to my team, My Insanity, shout out to our sponsors, Logitech, Bizon, World of CD Keys, and Esport Clothing. And yeah, thanks shout out to desRow for having me on. Thanks, man.
No problem, dude. Winter, what about you? Where can we see you next?
I mean, I stream like 60-ish hours a week on Twitch TV.
Yeah.
You'll probably be able to find me there. Winter Gaming, obviously, and then Twitter, all that. And also, just a little bit of a foreshadowing here, but shout out to Team NVIDIA and their upcoming participation in StarCraft 2. Keep your eyes peeled for that.
What?
Wow,
announcement of an announcement.
I just EG'd
Going
that
full in
shit right
control.
there. I'm a professional marketer, remember.
I hate you.
But
All
that's it. I love you back. Big D.
Oh, you little D. Alright, what
Jeez.
about what about you, Nathanias?
Yeah, well, I think I've I think I've alluded at enough announcements coming up, so I shouldn't try to spoil too much else. I'm gonna probably be streaming later today, but I woke up right before this started, so I have to take care of some stuff.
Did you
But,
forget that you were gonna come on Remax? Or?
No, I knew. I told you I woke up at like 8 o'clock, and then I like had breakfast, and then I just fell asleep before I showered, and then I was like, and then I woke up, my alarm was set for 1, and that's when I rolled over and was like, okay, I need to do Remax. But yeah. Anyway.
Rotterdam went to scout your room. I'm like, where's Nate? He's like, he's sleeping. I'm like, rip. And then we got Pengwin. It worked out great. It was a fun episode.
I'm glad Pengwin's here, so I could bring up that mech game we played. But yeah, you can find me on twitch.tv/Nathanias, probably later today. I'm StarCraft commentator / future CSGO pro, road to Kappa Elite. You can follow me on that. And aside from that, shout out to CyberPower PC, my sponsor. And yeah, love all of you. Have a nice day, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Wait, it's not over, guys. I have to do my shout out. You guys are ruthless vultures. Right,
I'm the captain now.
So guys,
pick up the scraps of a dead game.
Guys, thank you for watching. I think today was a really fun episode with a mix of Pro League and Legacy of the Void. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back next week. I see a lot of people asking about Huck in the Reddit thread. You know, it's not because something is leaked public that it deserves to be spoken in public about it. So, you know, things are things. And thank you for your support despite Huck not being here right now. And yeah, thank you. And I'll be hosting QXC, and I stream every day. And
that was your best ending you could have ever
shout
done.
out to Asus, Corsair, and Chairs for Gaming for sponsoring me. All right, see you guys next week.
Oh, now you can.
Now you can. Wow.